How do we get here? That's a question that a lot of people ask themselves. How do we get here? My name is Prophetess Happiness Michael Ebube. Welcome to Save the Singles platform. We're working on the topic of how do we get here? As a single person, our duty here is for you to know where you are going to. If you don't have an idea about your journey, then you will miss your way. So all what I'm doing here for you is to help you cross. As a single person, when you get married, you get to the point that things will provoke you and push you to do the things that you're not supposed to do. Your spouse may end up bringing the wild animal in you. Sometimes people will turn around and say, I know her, I know him, he's not this kind of person. But they're still surprised, how do you kill your husband? A question has been asked. How does she kill her husband? How did they get there? Sometimes they ask, how did a pastor kill the wife? How did it get there? And you are in the prison and you ask yourself some questions. Now I'm trying to help you so that you'll not fall a victim of what other people have fallen the victim of. A lot of women, a lot of men, we have heard history. You don't need this to happen to you for you to learn a lesson. You got to learn from the people that this has happened to already. Now, how do they get there? First of all, it begins in a misunderstanding. When there is a little misunderstanding and the thing begins to grow. And here comes to the point that the man or the woman, one person may be a kind of person that when anything happens, they talk over it, then they move on. The other person may be the kind of person that when things happen, he does not want to talk about it at all. Then he keep those things in his mind or in his brain, sleep over with it, stay with it, and eat with those things that happened. Then at the end of the day, this whole thing began to grow. As soon as this misunderstanding that takes place grow up, it will give room for hatred. And as soon as hatred comes, you get to the point that you said, I feel like killing him. You get to the point that the man will say, I feel like killing her. I feel like killing you with my bare hands. Anytime you see that you are pissed off to the level that you're telling yourself, I feel like killing you with my bare hands. I want to beg you, anytime you come across this video, you come across this program, you need to retrieve. Now, where do you retrieve from? You retrieve your mind from those things that happened. If you keep dwelling on what the person did to you, then you will arrive in that place that you guys have to wash your dirty linen in the public. This marriage is supposed to be a private life. It's not supposed to be a thing that social media, the whole world had to talk about it. But when your trouble gets to the point that everybody had to talk about it, I want you to always be conscious. Take note. Look at how you can solve this problem when it was just a tiny thing. When the trouble began, look for a solution at that moment. If you don't get a solution at that moment, it will become bigger then at times come. I'm going to throw a sample about when you throw up a waste bin behind your house. If you throw up the dirt in like 3 days, you can easily pack it with your hands with a bag. But if you keep on throwing it for like 1 week, 2 weeks, then you need a wheelbarrow to pack those things. But if you keep on throwing it for like 3 months, 1 year, then you need a tipper to clear up those waste bin. This is what happened that makes the people to get to a point of asking themselves a question, how do we get here? When they start having a trouble, then they gather the trouble, gather the pains, gather the trouble, keep reminding themselves of what happened, what he said. Can you imagine he said this to me? Do you imagine my wife asked me this question? Sometimes he could just, like a woman may be off his mind at the times of trouble and just say to you, I know you don't love my children. Then you now went home and sleep with that. Every time you wake up, you can imagine my wife say to me, I didn't love my children. Now guess what? When that thing happened, you know the next thing that comes to your mind? The next thing that comes to your mind is for you. You start asking yourself a question. Am I sure? Am I really sure that this children is mine? Remember, the thing began of just a little misunderstanding. Then the woman threw her questions to you. I'm sure, I know. She may even said, I know from the onset you did even like my children. Now she's not saying my children, not our children. And then you get pissed off. What you do now, you have added fuel to the fire that was burning. Then you now said, I'm sure those children is not even my children. The next thing that comes to your mind, you said, I'm going to go for DNA. Then you start dwelling with this thing now. Do you know that at this moment where this thing happened, if you have been paying her house rent, or if she has been staying with you, she has been cooking, you won't even like eating her food. Then at that time when good morning comes, you like money. Then at that moment, honey, come and eat food. I'm not hungry. You go to work, you come back. Now while you are doing this, a whole lot is playing on your head, and what is playing in your head, you just feel like those children is not yours. Remember that was not the beginning of this trouble. The beginning of this trouble was just a little misunderstanding. Now the thing has migrated. It has expanded. It has enlarged. It has become a territory. And from a territory, he has become a kingdom. From a kingdom, he has become a country. Then he becomes United States of America. He's now having a lot of branches. And at this point in time, hatred comes in. You just feel like, I can finish with this woman this time. You just feel like I can finish with this man at this time. Then the pains began. One day, with a little misunderstanding, maybe she shifted your slippers from where it's supposed to be to where it's not supposed to be. You can choose to kill her. And maybe when the house is becoming too tough, too much, she can decide to leave the home and go and meet her mother. Maybe at this time, you no longer give her money to go and do her hair. You no longer give. The trouble is increasing. Now, as a single person listening to me right now, when you get married, my duty here is to help you, for you not to get to the point of asking yourself a question, how do we get here? I'm helping you to know what is inside marriage. When you get married, I want you to understand, be very conscious of the trouble that comes, the misunderstanding, and settle it in time. That is a solution for you not to get to a point of people coming to settle you. Social media coming to judge your matter. Churches coming to judge your matter. Mother coming. Sometimes we get to the point that even the chief of the village has to follow in this case. They said, okay, we meet our village chief, our king was involved and all that. If you can handle your case when it is a little, then you people talk about it, settle it, and let go. You don't sleep with it. Never you sleep with any issues that happen in your house. If you can let go of this trouble in the parlor and pull it off your mind, you will never get to the point that people will ask you a question, how do you get there? You will never get to the point that you ask yourself, how do I get here? Number one, in the middle of the night, I want you to understand that is when you remember everything. When you are sleeping, around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that is when everything just comes. And then your emotion will help you interpret what that person said, what your spouse says, what your wife said, what your husband says. Those are the time the whole memory comes. But can I tell you something? Never sleep with what people say. How do you solve this problem is for you to look at the angle of the good things that person has done for you. Remember the good part. Don't always remember when you are in this situation. Don't remember the bad part. Don't remember what he said. Don't remember what she said. Remember the good thing that he has done for you. If he has taken you out, and that day you people were in a, maybe you hang out, you had a dinner in a place, all the word he said to you, whatever your spouse said to you, that is what you should dwell on. When you went to the hospital to give birth, or the money he spends, how he run through the stress, this is what you should feed your soul with. Feed your spirit with what he has done for you. Remember how much was the engagement ring, how he knelt down, how he said, oh, the words that he said to you. If you can take that in, this will come to dilute the pains. It comes to dilute, it will wash off the bitterness, the pains, the sorrow, the things that you have been thinking about what he has done wrong or what she has done wrong. You will be able to take this part to dilute it, and you will now have the sweet part of it. If you focus on the bitterness, on the pains, it will grow up to hatred, then it will grow up to wickedness. He leads to wickedness, and from the wickedness you won't even know when you just carry a knife and stab him. You will not even know when you are going to beat her to death. You won't even know when you're going to do this thing. The reason is, even after finish doing this thing, if you are bitter, he grows up to wickedness. When you are doing this thing, do you know what will happen at that moment? You even be thanking God that you did it. When people come and said, how do you kill your husband? You said, thank God that I even killed him. Thank God I killed him with my bare hands. I even happy I killed him. It will dawn on you after 7 days in the prison. It will dawn on you after one month when you discover that you're going to be in one place. Never get to a point that social media had to carry your case. Never get to a point that you're going to be in prison. Never get to the point that the government, they're going to hold you in their custody because of what you have done. So never get to a point that you gotta kill the man. Never get to the point that you're gonna kill your wife. Never get to the point that you begin to feel, you begin to think about it. Sometimes never get to the point that you think that you do not want to see this woman again. This is what leads to divorce. When you keep on sleeping to remember the wicked thing, or what the person has said to you, what he did, how he took your money, how he did this. When you start having those things in your mind, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. When you start thinking about it, then you start acting it. You will begin to perform it. You will carry it out. So take this thing off your mind. See, look for a replacement. Play around it. Bring something new. Introduce it. Try to make it work. Solve this problem early. Never allow it to get like a heap of dustbin that you needed a tipper to come and help you pack it. Sometimes you gotta need the government to come and help you pack it. The moment you throw the pure water bottle, the pure water nylon, or the bottled water, start picking them at the same time, so that it will not accumulate it. When he accumulated, it will result to wickedness, and then it will lead for you carrying out unnecessary things. How do we get here? Here's a question that people ask when the matter overwhelms them. When it becomes a flood of water, they ask themselves a question: how do we get here? How is it that anywhere I open on Facebook they talk about me? Every blogcast is carrying my name around. Churches are talking about me. Everybody is about me. Your name is being trending everywhere for evil, for bad things, not for good. How did they talk about my separation everywhere? How do we get here? You got there because you were only focusing on the negative part of your marriage. That is what you were focusing on. You didn't remember the good part. You didn't focus on the good side. You didn't introduce the good thing, because what you focus on is what you will produce. If you focus on the good part, then you will now make a move of introducing and bringing more of good things to make it work. I want to speak to you as a single person, that when you get into marriage and you had these issues coming up, definitely issues will definitely comes up in marriage. Your spouse will definitely hurt you, your wife will hurt you, your husband will hurt you. But when you see the sign coming up, settle it on time, end the matter in peace. Make sure joy comes in. Don't sleep over it. Don't think about it in your workplace. Don't make it to become a focus. Don't pay attention to all what that happened. Try to introduce the love part, the good news, the good things that happen. Bring it to the table. Then suddenly you see that the bitterness, the trouble will just run out. It will just be deleted on its own, and the good atmosphere will stay. Then you will be able to enjoy your marriage. I can promise you that there's a lot of people on this planet that are successfully married. Sometimes you go into Facebook, you see in social media, you see a man celebrating 40 years anniversary. It is a choice. Do you want to celebrate 40 years anniversary? How do you want to end your marriage? Or you want to end in prison? Or you want to end 11 years divorce, 12 years divorce, 5 years divorce? How do you want to end? Do you want to celebrate 30 years anniversary? Do you want to celebrate 40 years anniversary? As long as the Lord liveth. Just imagine that you get married at 30 something, and by 60 you'll be celebrating your 30 years anniversary. If you get married at 35, then by 60 you'll be celebrating your 25 years anniversary. Then by 70, what happened? If you are married at 30, by 70 you'll be celebrating your 40 years anniversary. So are you really prepared to do this anniversary to stay? Love is sweet, and you can keep loving each other and make sure you deliver to each other the love portion that you people began with. Don't allow your marriage to end you in a place that you'll be tagged a murderer, tagged a divorcee. Some of you even tag one divorcee, first divorcee, second divorcee. You even want to have even third divorcee. Come on now. That has become a fairly used car, from a brand new to Tokombo down to fairly used. You even now become second hand. You don't need all those titles. You don't need those names. You can make your marriage to become a role model to others people. Meanwhile, as you are doing this, involve God in the middle of it. Storm and tussle will always come in. But you see, Jesus wouldn't have woken up from the ship when the storm comes in. But there was something that happened. The Bible said the disciple waked him up, and he now had to speak to the storm. He didn't speak to the disciple, he spoke to the storm. So when storm comes in your marriage, try and wake Jesus up and tell him to be in the middle of it. And when Jesus comes in, then he will speak to the storm. Stop fighting your spouse. Stop responding. Don't want to act because he do this, then you want to do that back. Retaliation, when you want to retaliate on what he said and what she said, that's made the whole thing become on a bit. Now you now discover that he now get out of control, because everybody is trying to fight back. Everyone is trying to respond. The Bible says we should follow peace with all men. Follow peace with all men. If you can, you don't use trouble to solve trouble. You don't use problem to solve problem. You don't use talk back to solve the issue. Somebody said you are stupid and you want a peaceful home. You said you are stupid. Your father is stupid. Your mother is stupid. Everybody in your family is stupid. In fact, your local government is stupid. Now tell me, how would that problem be solved? Now on what you are doing right now, you have added more people into the whole incident that happened. Then the man also want to retaliate. You can imagine that she said this. This is what really happened that makes the people get to where they did not actually plan. They didn't buy a visa to get there. They did not even plan for it. They just see themselves disappearing and appearing in that place. That they just find themselves on social media, find themselves in prison, find themselves in a place there where they're not supposed to be. Have you ever been in one day? I've seen marriage people. As a single person, please listen to me. There are people in marriage that just feel like pouring fuel into the house and burn their spouse inside. Like, you get to that point, you just like, I feel like setting this house on fire with you right inside. So how do you get there? It is when you start accumulating what they said. You know, he bought clothes last time, you collect salary, you bought clothes for yourself, you didn't buy for me. This time again, you collect salary, you bought clothes for yourself, you are selfish, you are this, you are that. If you buy for himself, take your money and go and buy for yourself. You understand? You can sit him down and say, you know, you have been taking care of yourself. What about me? Like me, what I did. When I saw my husband collected salary, I would tell him, money for wife maintenance. And I told the wife maintenance money. We start that from the early stage of our relationship, so that I can ask him money anywhere, even though in the church. And people will not like, oh, she's asking the husband for money, oh, and all that. So you could have, you could introduce a skill on how to make the family, to make your home happy, to make, just put a platform, a happy platform, a smooth platform, a peaceful platform. Have some playful words that you use around. Now the solution of all this is that never put anything in your mind that lasted for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. When you keep this thing for days like this, then it gets to 1 week, you would definitely get to the point of asking yourself, of trying to do something stupid. For you to avoid not to do something stupid, then you have to make sure that when things happen on that day, sort it out. If you can't sort it out that day, sort it out the next day. There are people that say, give me time to get over it. Fine, 1 day is enough. Please don't take more than 2 days. If you take more than 2 days, that's 3 days. If you keep on accumulating it like that, you have to look for the help of the whole government, the whole nation, to help you out before you sort it out. So don't keep malice, don't put things in your heart. The moment he comes, find a way to talk about it, delete it, then move on. Find a means. I love when things happen, find a means of solving that problem. Put in a skill, an idea, just manufacture something like a word that can help you skate through so that those things will not repeat again. Find a solution to it so that it won't take place again. Now, like what I did under wife maintenance money has really helped me, that even sometimes I had more money than what I supposed to have, because when I said it, my husband is going to laugh. From that laughing, even though he did not have it, he will go and look for he will go to the bank and withdraw the money for me, or he will say, let him go and get that transfer for you. Remember that if I go with first, I won't get this. Definitely, I won't get it. But I created a platform that makes that thing smooth for me and all that. You can make all this work. You can make it happen. You can get done. You can get it done. Just for example, now, like my husband was not a church person, really, and he wasn't really like, okay, I'm gonna hold his trouser and say, today you must come to church. I was already a pastor before we get married, but he wasn't a church person. But there was a way I play around it. I put the words to it. Sometimes I would like, you need to be in church, the people are putting hope on you. If they see you, they're gonna be happy. You will not like, yes, it's true, I'm gonna be in church. So you put it, make it, don't make it like a serious matter, like it has to be a fight over everything. No, find a way of passing those messages. Like today now, if you watch some of my pictures on social media, in my platform, you will see him like coming to church, standing at the pulpit. Little by little is getting there. You must not engage on seriousness in every conversation you want to pass a message to your spouse, to your wife, to your husband. So, and this brings me to the conclusion of this message, that every single out there that come across this video, that come across this broadcast, you should know that you can have a successful marriage, a happy marriage, a peaceful marriage, because marriage can be enjoyed, not to be endured. Marriage should be enjoyed, not to be endured. When I say can't, simply means you need your effort. You have to put your own effort to make it work. So you can do it. It is possible. And should, meaning it was ought to be so. So I really want you to know that you can have a peaceful home, a happy home, if you let go of picking the fault of your spouse. Don't pick fault. Let go of it. Try to make the platform smooth and fair for everybody, convenient for your spouse to dwell in. So let go of everything he has said. Especially like a woman, women can talk. Even as a prophet, me like this, I can talk. Oh. If it comes to a talk, women can talk. It is our gift. We're gifted for it. It's our nature. So if you want to put all that into your box, man, you will fill up the box and fill up the wardrobe. There won't be space in the room for any other thing. So let go. Most of the time we don't even mean those things. Or most of the time, if you give us ice cream, we have forgotten what we said. So now just imagine an issue where ice cream can solve. Then we end up how to solve that problem in the court. It doesn't worth those stress. You can just let go of it, find a solution. Always find a solution around what happened and let go of it. So let me leave you with this message. Marriage can be enjoyed. Marriage should be enjoyed, not to be endured. Always have it at at the front of your mind, not at the back of your mind, at the front of your mind, that you can enjoy marriage and you can have a peaceful home at all time if you put your little effort and work on it. If both of you work on it, you arrive at that point that you'll be celebrated and not to win award by going to prison. I know the Lord God is going to help you, that as you get married as a single person and you follow me in this platform, you will learn more on how to sustain your home and how to sustain your marriage and how to stay in your marriage. For every one of you that is my fans, and for every one of you that truly love me, I'm happy that I'm going to see you celebrating your 40 years and your 50 years anniversary without you ending in prison or nobody talks about you, about your marriage for bad in social media. God bless you.